Testing 1, 2. Okay, there something seems to be happening. Just confirm that I actually have audio in my ears. Then, well, provided my computer is playing along. Okay, we're there. Okay, welcome. So this took a tad longer than I initially thought, mainly because apparently it took a lot longer to get everything updated than I anticipated. So yeah, I had to update OBS and some of the other streaming related stuff in order to get it to actually run, because I'm streaming on a different computer when I'm doing the miniature painting. But anyways, here I am. Tonight will be an interesting, well, interesting is relative, but tonight should be fun. I'm primarily going to focus on doing some of the bases for some of my Infinity models. So I mean, I've got Dr. Worm here, and the base doesn't look fantastic, so I want to try some bases. I've got some samples here that I did a while back. So I'm thinking doing something like this. Don't know. Can actually, this camera is a little bit better for that. Doing something like that. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I saw this the first time on Squidmar, actually, where they showed how to do, not really that, they took it a bit further, but I'm going to try and do that. This thing is very dusty. I am not sure why this isn't showing up. I'll play around with it in the week, but the Twitch chat is supposed to show up on screen around about here-ish. Well, that's an interesting question. Where did I put my cloth? Should be fine without it. I am remembering now, because I am phenomenal at doing this. If I can find myself. I don't have the link directly available with me. Let me just see if I can quickly find it. I think this is the right one. there. It should be up on YouTube as well. I am, yeah, popped up. I'm very tired and very underslept, but yes, it does. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, Slayer, I am at a point where I don't buy anything else, and I actually forgot I need to order some more boxes, but oh, that is beautiful. That is very, very beautiful. There's a 5% discount code on Slayer if you follow the link that I just popped in chat on Twitch, and there will be one in the YouTube description box as well. So I don't think this is particularly obvious on camera, but this is absolutely terrible coverage, considering that this is meant to be a primer. This aside for now. So, well, at this point, it's the Meg Ammo airbrush primer, but it is shockingly bad at giving me coverage with a brush. And I need these bases to be nice and black in order to even try what I want to do with them. I'll just put Carrington's over to the side. I brought him along. If I get to a point where I'm waiting for paint to dry, then I can carry on with his gun. I could actually maybe even paint his base black as well. Start getting that ready for the final steps. This really isn't a great primer. At least not to use it like this. I realize I need a fancy angled brush, which I shall go grab quickly to get into some nooks and crannies. Fancy angle brush. Its tip is slightly bent, which makes it easier to get into small nooks and crannies that a regular brush doesn't really want to do. Oops, that wasn't quite the plan. So I'm gonna take a guess, I'm not the only one currently working on miniatures. What are you guys painting? start painting some of the other parts or the bases in the army black as well. I'm just going to tilt this up ever so slightly. I feel that's a bit better. I will still eventually do the or make a proper camera angle for this. So the primer is taking quite a bit longer to dry than I thought it would. I need to recut your thingy. Get a bunch of them ready for the plan for the base. While I'm at it, I actually have several larger models also hidden up there that I can tackle in the same process. trying to remember what the original artist is, where I saw the specific technique that I'm trying to emulate now. I mean, I'm doing it the way Squidmar suggested on his channel a while back, which does get you pretty much the same results. I'm quickly gonna see if I can find her while I am waiting for paint to dry, quite literally. Somewhat less successful thus far. Why is it always that you can't find the people you're looking for when you're looking for them? Come on. That's the one. I found her. I had more or less the right idea in mind, but the artwork she does on miniatures is absolutely incredible. I'll be nice and go put the link in the mini painting group as well. Wash. It's exactly what I wanted to say. This primer is functioning almost more like a wash. I missed the spot. Okay. Note for next time. Do this step before I do actually get to the point of live streaming, because this is taking a shocking amount of time. I think I need to stop by Jigs and get me some nice black paint again for a change, because even the dropper bottle paint, black paint I've got is really not great. So, seeing as I have not yet made a mini painting handle specifically for the Infinity models, for now I shall be using an adapter base to make my life a tad easier when painting up our dear Dr. Worm. So I accidentally broke the retentioning ring on this one, so that one doesn't mean anything for now. And when I did the prototypes of these trays, I never actually made enough painting handles to fill all of them. I have since cut the additional ones that I am short, but that was just before, about 2-3 weeks before Comic-Con, so I also haven't assembled those yet because, well, it hasn't been necessary yet. Now, the way this works, and I'm actually thinking I'm going to use primer for this, because it seems to be quite thin. So you would paint up these, if my, why doesn't it want to play along? There, okay. I'm still trying to get used to the camera angles. The plan is to have a camera facing down from the top to make the whole view of the painting easier. So you paint those lines in white. Start relatively thick, and then cover it with a transparent color, and then once that is dry, go over it again with a white, a little bit thinner, and go over it, and you build up, and then you can do as many or as few layers as you want. I'm inclined to going more for a higher layer count. I will also be utilizing the Pro Acryl transparent colors because they actually work very, very well for this, which makes me wonder why I got the wet palette out in the first place, but whatever. And then obviously having a smaller brush to do this with is better, just a little bit more control. I need a cloth or some toilet paper. I have something to dry the brush on after I've cleaned it. Now, my thinking with this is to have the lines almost emanating out from where the model touches the base. And I'm not too worried about having the lines need not be properly saturated for now. What I am worried about is it seems like the brush is splitting. Well, that's not good. So I'm starting off where the model touches the base. And then spreading it out from there. This base itself is actually also a little bit cracked, so I'm going to utilize that to my advantage. Help that guide the process along. Now the idea of this is to try and be random about it, which, interestingly for us humans, is very, very difficult. But you can sort of start to see what I'm thinking of. No, I have no idea how this is going to end up quite yet. But the best way to learn new things is to try it. This is a fun start. And I'm going to do the same thing with his 2 slaves. After which I'm first going to quickly touch up the other one's black. I'm getting the feeling this is going to be a bit more successful on the larger basis. But I shall continue with it and trust the process as we're supposed to. I think what is also important is if you look at, for example, Agent Ducash, he's got a very big tactical rock that he is standing on. And my thinking is to not paint that as a tactical rock, but to paint it in a similar vein as I'm doing the other bases. And I'll be doing that with all of them. So even smaller elements that is kind of part of the model itself, but that is terrain elements that the model stands on. I'm also going to include in the So look of this. And once all of that is done, then I'll paint in the viewing angle, viewing arc lines that is necessary for Infinity. Which probably also means that I don't have to worry about the base or the rim of the base being black now, but my CDO won't allow me to do anything else current. Well, it's going to bother me. Clean this thing's snot nose before it causes trouble later. Okay, now for the fun part. So the thinking is to go more with this one, which is more red and orange. I have done samples of that's more yellow and green as well, which look nice, but I actually want the base to contrast with the rest of the miniature, as well as bring out some of the other colors that I've used on the miniature itself. So if you take I know it's not particularly fantastic there. Maybe one day when I'm big, I'll have a camera that's better at close-ups. But the eyes on Dr. Worm and his slaves are also red-orange, and on the Carringtons, this is not as prevalent yet, but his gun is also going to be more orangey yellow. So I want to bring that color back in. So I'm going to be using red and orange in order to do the base. Don't explode on me. Oh, fuck. It exploded on me again. As much as I enjoy Pro Crawl's colors, their bottles are only slightly better than Citadel bottles, in my opinion. Very important. I prefer the traditional dropper bottles. Okay, so I'm also going to be using a different technique here, wet blending on the base itself to get the orange and the red to go together. The red was surprisingly powerful. No matter. That gives you, okay, it's still very wet, something like this after the first layer, which, while it is what I am looking for, I'm going to have to do quite a lot more of this to get it to where I want it to be. I just realized that this paint, even though it's transparent, is actually a lot thicker than I thought. I'll do a proper cleaning of the brushes when I'm done to get out all the gunk and condition the tips a little bit. But yeah, that's the basic idea. Now I just need to do several layers of this more in order to achieve the final effect. This looks reasonably dry. So the aim now is to try and do a smaller area than what I did previously. So my thinking in doing this is to try and bring out more of the alien aspect of my army and have it further removed from the normality or the humans in other armies. Not that you need to take a very long leap, but I kind of want to try and push that further. So it's starting to get there. I'll make a plan to get the top-down camera in time for next week. So I'm not quite there yet, but what you can also do, especially in some of the later layers, is to add more of these tendrils effectively. Another thing that is also very important with this is brush control. You want to try and do long, continuous strokes rather than short, stabby ones. Just thought of a cool idea, but it's not going to be as practical with these ones. So, just to make it a bit easier to spot, quickly dab some paint onto this. So, Infinity has these markers on especially the newer bases to demonstrate the line of sight, so you can know if something is in front of you or behind you, can you actually see it. And what will be a cool add-on is on bases such as these that has certain markings, if I can make the tendrils emanating from the model itself meet up with those line of sight markings. Are you losing hairs? You're not allowed to lose hairs. You're supposed to be a proper brush. Why don't you want to close properly? It's lovely red, but not for this application. The orange works quite well. Still very, very strong colors, which is not actually what I want here. It's going to need a bit more. And I'm also getting the idea I'm going to have to thin these paints because they are surprisingly potent. At least I'm planning on painting over this again in the future. I think this works quite well, and I've had it or made it such that I have the tendrils make contact with the line of sight markers. thankfully, it didn't fall to the ground. But I'm gonna have to get the idea that the base I made for this is too small. Well, that's disappointing. It's done. Drink Slayer. At least I think they have the best flavors of any energy drink out there, and I'm not sure if it's not affecting me or I'm just so used to functioning on energy drinks. Maybe don't look too deeply into that. Yeah, this is going to take a very, very long time, and I'm kind of getting the impression that, or I'm getting the feeling that it's not something that's really suitable to a live stream. So I'm thinking I'm going to call it here. I know it's a little bit earlier than I usually finish up on a Sunday evening, but then I'm going to sit back and play with it a little bit further, try and see if I can take it a bit further, and then from next weekend on we'll be playing with some other creative endeavors. I have 2 models? It depends on how you count them. Probably 3 models sitting looking at me that I want to do for Comic-Con next year, and I should get started sooner rather than later, and I've got some interesting ideas of what I want to do with them. There's also some other model ideas that I want to push a little bit. Yeah. Thanks for joining. You are allowed to be more lively in the chat in miniature painting sessions, and then I can respond. I'll see what plan I can make in order to get it up here again where it's supposed to be, so everyone can actually see chat and understand what I'm responding to. If you're watching on YouTube and you can't see the Twitch chat, I'm not sure if I can get the YouTube chat up there yet, but I'll figure that out. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm thinking that I should do this particular aspect more off camera and focus on other things on camera. Although maybe someone learned something from this, in which case, cool. I'll post some videos on the socials in the next day or two to see the progress on those 3 models. They are looking a lot better. They are standing out. The models are standing up from their bases a lot more than they used to. Yeah. Thank you. It's been fun. Have a lovely evening. I'm probably going to end up spending some more time painting, but also doing other things, running around, that needs to happen before the weekend starts. So, good night.